Warning, this video contains scary stories told by me that are made from other people, so I do not own any of the stories. But these stories are told by me because I thought I wanted to do something for Halloween. If you guys do not like any of the content that you're about to witness on this video, then please don't watch it. But for everybody that wants to have a good scare,
I hope you have a happy Halloween.
wanna play? I was never the type of person who would believe in ghosts, or anything paranormal for that matter. An incident such as this would have been easy for me to dismiss, had it not come at such a significant time. About 5 months ago, my Uncle Robert was stabbed to death by his supposedly lovely wife. It was a shock to my whole family when she pleaded guilty and was sent to a maximum security prison. Their 8-year-old daughter, Annabelle, was sent to live with us. My cousin was always such a quiet girl, so the first night she moved, it was kind of awkward. In fact, I don't remember her sleeping at all that night. The next night, she suggested that I watch the movie with her. An old movie. That was always a favorite of hers. I know because I was there when her father gave it to her, when she was younger. I set it up and sat down next to her. It was pretty normal, until we were 20 minutes in the film. For some reason, the movie began to fast forward, and there was an odd, muted sound in the background. And significantly, I rewinded tape so we could actually be able to watch the entire movie. But the same thing happened again. Annabelle covered her blankets over her head and started crying hysterically. She started muttering about how this kept happening before. I didn't understand at the time, so I played the scene again with a volume on higher. A scratchy male voice came on and said,
Hey girls, wanna play?
I started to shake uncontrollably because I knew who that voice was. I knew why Annabelle was crying. Uncle Robert was not as good of a person many people thought he was. Annabelle knew it. He had sexually molested her as she was growing up. I finally realized his wife knew this. It was the reason she had killed him the night she found out. I knew this because he had done the same when he used to babysit me, before he met his wife. When my parents finally heard Annabelle's commotion, they burst into the room, finding me crying silently on the couch and Annabelle curling in the corner, blanket over her head, scratching the paint off the wall. I tried to show them what we heard. I tried to tell them what happened so many years ago, but the scene would not play the same way it had before. And I cried. I cried because whenever Uncle Robert asked if I want to play, he always did something horrible to me. I played the scene again when it was just Annabelle and I. This time, he said something that frightened me even more.
One of these days, I'll make you pay.
The CD. I had a really good friend named Annie. She had a band she sung in, and she was one of the greatest and one of the most protective people I knew. Her band wasn't famous, but her dad had record studios in their basement. So she recorded their first CD with the band there. Her very first CD was a gift from me on my birthday, and I hadn't listened to it yet. 3 days after my birthday, Annie was raped by her older brother, who was 17. He left the city supposedly, and they didn't catch him. He always scares me, but I never said anything. She was only 13 when she died. The next day in the hospital, when I was sitting with her, she tried to speak and tell me something. But when she was raped, he choked her and damaged her throat so much she wouldn't be able to talk for a while. Before I left the hospital, a nurse had come up to me in the parking lot and told me she died and gave me a note she wrote before she died. I was so depressed about it. I refused to touch her CD and note, which I left in my room. One night, when I was home alone, I was thinking about her so I decided to finally listen to the CD. There was a song in there called Painful Memories, a song she wrote about rape when a friend of hers was raped. Some of the choruses goes, "He tries to find you, he's upstairs." All of a sudden, the CD starts skipping and continuously repeating, "He's upstairs, he's upstairs, he's upstairs." I feel it was kind of weird, because I never listened to the CD, and it didn't have any scratches. So I just put it back in and played the song again. When it came to this chorus, it skipped and repeated the same words again. I cleaned the CD and tried again. It still played the same words. I was scared now, so I locked my door and listened to the silence. I could hear boots walking down the hall. I looked in the keyhole and saw somebody walking down the hall. I quickly called the police, and they came. They found her 17-year-old brother hiding in the bathroom. He said he was waiting for me, and they questioned him. The next day, I found a note in the CD case when I put it in. I opened it and read, "When my brother raped me, he told me he would rape you next. I promised no matter what, I wouldn't let that happen. Love, Annie." And I think she kept that promise. Rose. I was playing dolls in my house when I heard a soft voice whisper behind my ear. I shivered, but I ignored it at first, thinking it was just the breeze coming from the wind. I looked at the window and saw to my shock that they weren't open, but I forgot about it later on. It was only a few minutes later when I heard someone whisper in my ears again. This time I could hear out the words, "Celia, Celia, Celia." I looked around, but there was no one there. Then suddenly, I saw a little girl my age looking at me. She had a red skirt on with a white blouse. She looked pretty, if only her eyes weren't so dark and creepy. It almost looked like she had no eyeballs. Her mouth opened, and I only saw a black hole in it. She called out, "Celia, Celia, Celia, come in to the cellar." It was so scary to listen to her dry and shivering voice. But I just stood still and listened to her. She then disappeared. I didn't open the door and walked down the Celia stairs. I saw the little girl again, and this time she was pointing at an ancient-looking wall. She motioned with her hand as if she was tearing something down. I was confused, so I went back upstairs. I went into the kitchen to look for Mother. I found her at the table and told her about the little girl. She grew pale, death pale, after I described how the girl looked like. She came from inside and so scared that I felt like I wanted to cry. But she hushed me and asked me where the girl was. I told her down in the cellar, and we both went down there. I said that the red scared girl was making tearing motions at the wall, and my mother grew even more frantic. She called some carpenters and asked them to tear down the wall in the cellar. They came that same day and soon broke the wall. Inside, we found a small skeleton with a torn white blouse and red skirt. I was scared as heck at the same time. My mother started to cry, saying how her little sister, Rose, disappeared wearing those same clothes and how everyone was upset, except for her uncle. He was acting more scared and nervous all the time, than upset. We then went to Mother's uncle's house and found him there. We were told him about the hidden body. He nearly fainted, but wouldn't say anything. Finally, he broke down and said that he tried to molest the little girl when no one was looking, and Rose tried to run away. He was afraid that she would ransom him out, so he killed her and hid her body behind the wall of the cellar. Coincidence. I remember when I was 11, I had just fallen asleep to have a very strange dream. My mom was walking down aisle A in Walmart, talking on her cell phone. I was watching her from the end of the aisle. Suddenly, a man was heard running down the store. His shoes could be heard screeching to a stop at the end of the aisle Mom was walking down. He looked terrifying, like a nervous psycho running from the police. He took out a pistol and pointed it at my mom, then yelled,
"If you take one step closer, I'll shoot!"
They couldn't see her and thought he was just bluffing, but to be sure, they called back up to go at the end to check the aisle. Mom was crying so hard. The burglar thought they called the police and shot her. From the cell phone she had, I could hear yelling and crying. I woke up crying and sweating. It was extremely late, as I went to bed around 3 a.m. I looked at the clock, and it was 1. I ran downstairs and called Mom right away. Thank God that she picked up. "Mom, are you okay?" I quickly blurted out. "Of course, sweetie. Is something wrong?" my mom replied. I smiled and calmed down. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just a bad dream." "Okay, honey," she responded cheerily. I was about to say bye and hang up when a thought suddenly occurred to me. "Mom, where are you?" I asked. "I'm at Walmart," she replied. There is a silence. "What aisle?" I quickly questioned. "Hun, is something wrong? I'm in the CD aisle. Aisle 8, she stated. "Are you walking by an 80 CD? I remembered. Another silence. How did you know that? A strike of panic hit me quickly. "Mom, get out of the store, now!" I demanded.
"Honey, what's going on?"
she questioned.
"Go!"
I yelled. I could hear the faint noise of a man running. "Hurry up!" I yelled. My mom ran out of the store, only to notice the police rushing everybody out, as the murderer they had been looking for was just found hiding in the store. She quickly drove home and busted in the door to see me anxiously waiting there. I still remember the first thing she said to me as she came in. "How did you know?" I smiled through tears and hugged her. "God told me." I later explained the dream to her. She was shocked, but she believed me. This should be a lesson to you. Trust your dreams. Sometimes it's not just a coincidence.